Michael Glading, former CEO of New Zealand Football, been there and done that. Michael, you're the former CEO of New Zealand Football. Look, I've got to say, I love aspiration, I love reaching for the stars, and I love people having dreams. But, what I find just so irritable about this is that, for a start, I think Andrew's saying things that he doesn't really know what he's saying, and then it gets reported verbatim as fact by our mainstream media, who refuse to even scrutinise or challenge. What is the reality? I mean, you've been in this position of New Zealand hosting a men's FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, it seems, unless the world is... And look, to be fair, it's been 10 plus years since I have been involved, but it seems far-fetched. I mean, it just, having had the joy of actually being to a World Cup wearing, if you like, a New Zealand football hat. I've been to one wearing a private citizen hat as well. But when you're sort of, if you like, behind the scenes, as I was to some degree, I served on the FIFA committee during the World Cup in South Africa, you just see the magnitude, the size of the event. Now, we would have people and manpower that can assist in that. I've got no issue with that. But just the facilities, I just can't see it right here. I can't, it's one thing to sell out stadiums of 40,000 people. These World Cups are selling out stadiums of 80 to 100,000 people. We just don't have those stadiums. And this, let us not forget, first and foremost, as we all know about FIFA, it is about the money. I mean, yes, it's the world game, and yes, they do their best to try and spread the word and do a good job, you'd have to say. But that is what they use the age group events for, and maybe to some degree the women's events as well. It's not belittling the Women's World Cup. It's simply saying that they will play those in markets which can make it meaningful with stadiums of 40 to 50,000. But honestly, the Men's World Cup, it is like the Olympics. It is just another level, and I just can't see how we could host or co-host an event like that. I personally can't see it.
Australia have put bids in before, and they got gazumped by Qatar. I mean, you only have to type into Google the corruption behind Qatar getting the World Cup, and then sit down and have a cup of tea, because it's going to take you 3 months to read it all. And I'm also sort of sitting there thinking, just in terms of the rotational aspect, regardless of what goes on behind closed doors with FIFA, that Europe had it in 2018. Well, Russia had it. Europe, and that means the western side of Europe have got their hand up again. The Saudis have put a bid in. South America and Argentina are going to want it again. Africa as a continent is going to want it again. And I haven't even mentioned the word China. Now, China have been promised a World Cup by FIFA. So somewhere at the back of this list, all the way back here, is Australia saying, we'd quite like to as well. I just think that's a reasonable, practical reality of it, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think everything you say there is the facts. I mean, traditionally, of course, the event has fluctuated between South America / North America and Europe, and that's rightly expanded, and as you say, went to South Africa. But again, let us not forget, this is it is the most important keg in a machine that just grinds out money. And whether we like it or not, the world of sport revolves around money, and the higher it goes, the more that's crucial. And the Football World Cup is, I'd say, alongside the Olympics, the two biggest revenue generators of any sporting event anywhere in the world. And I can't see that changing. FIFA are doing their best to dumb it down by getting as many countries playing at the event as they can.
That's right.
But again, that is ultimately about the money, right? It's about actually having the broadcast being more meaningful in more markets, selling more sponsorship and getting more money. That's what it's about.
So when you went to South Africa, they purpose-built 5 new stadiums. They also had to extensively upgrade another 5 stadiums. It's not just that, though. There's a whole lot of infrastructure that FIFA demand as well, isn't it?
Oh, completely, absolutely. And of course, in South Africa, there was basically, again, that was a country still in this case of re-establishing itself, re-establishing its credibility. Can you imagine the money that, well, we all know that half the FIFA execs were fired around that time, and it wasn't, and that was the South African bid was certainly tainted with, shall we say, large envelopes from what we read. So yeah, look, again, I keep going back to money, and don't get me wrong, I do think FIFA genuinely are there to foster the game around the globe. I'm not in any way disputing that, but this is the cash cow. This is the big one, and it will continue to go to big markets. I believe it'll go back to Africa again, because politically, and also not forget, it's all about votes as well, right? So Mr. Infantino to get re-elected, just like Mr. Blatter before him, had to not only smooth the palms but make promises.
Yeah.
So, and the African continent has a huge number of votes within FIFA. So I believe it will go back to Africa. But again, the money, as you say, that goes into the money, the stadiums we played at and when we were in South Africa, I mean, these were just, in small villages, stadiums that held sort of 60,000 people that had, underground back entrances and dressing rooms to die for. I mean, I so would love to go back and see what's happening with them now.
Well, why doesn't your phone ring hot when a story like that happens? They have a press conference, a question gets asked, Andrew Pragnell says something, this gets reported as supposed fact. I mean, at any stage, would you expect that somebody from the journalistic fraternity would actually ring and say, what do you think about this? What is the possibilities? Because you've obviously been involved with discussions along these lines, not with New Zealand, but I suppose with Australia.
Yeah, look, that's many, many years ago. And to be fair, I am yesterday's hero. So I don't think I was ever a hero, but yesterday's man. I don't understand that people wouldn't do it. But you're right. I have done. I actually did the bid when we got the men's under-20 World Cup. So I do know a fair bit about what. And even the FIFA under-20 men's World Cup did require a substantial amount of guarantees in terms of facilities. But again, that is only junior level compared with the men's World Cup. So, look, getting to your point. No, I don't think it's. But I don't think it's surprising that no one would ring me other than you, Marty. But also, let's also recognise that we're in a world now where the word investigative journalism doesn't really exist, sadly.
Devlin.
Oh, how does he do that? How does he do that?
The Platform.